Welcome to the After the Show movie podcast, brought to you by your hosts, Ace Scully and Sid Talk. We're addicted to movies. Are you? Welcome, Sid Talk. Welcome to this rainy Saturday afternoon.
It's barely rainy, but I'll take it.
It's better than hot, rainy, and...
We do particularly like the dampness, yes. So that's not the before the after the show discussion. That was pretty much non-existent. You came in here to do this. I went in there to do that. I got some cheese curls and a cup of tea. And that was it.
Aye.
Super exciting for a rainy afternoon.
Yes. And we did watch a movie today.
That was
helpful to do this podcast.
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
That's not part of the before the after show discussion, though.
All right. It's Saturday, June the 28th. This is After the Show 897. We're a movie review podcast, and every week we look at a new movie. This week, no exception, when we look at the movie Echo Valley. It's a 2025 release, out now on Apple TV Plus. I think it's in selected theaters as well, but whatever that means, which ones have been selected, Sid Talk? Who knows? It's rated R. Its runtime is 1 hour and 44 minutes, and it's from our friends at Apple who sent us a copy for review. Sid Talk, can you give us the synopsis of the movie Echo Valley?
We have friends at Apple?
Yes. Steve Jobs.
Synopsis would be a mother's love when the child is not that lovable.
All right, I'll give you the one off the box.
Is that not it? Come on.
I'll give you the one off the Apple box. It says Kate is dealing with a personal tragedy while owning and training horses in Echo Valley, an isolated and picturesque place, when her daughter Claire arrives at her doorstep, frightened, trembling, and covered in somebody else's blood.
That's accurate, but it does not tell the right. It's not a good synopsis.
It is not. So the movie Echo Valley, Apple original movie, we're going to spoil it. So if you don't want spoilers, go and watch it on your Apple TV. Come back.
Spoil it.
And then we will tell you what we thought of it. So, Sito, Echo Valley, what did you think?
I enjoyed it because it's quality, right?
Yes.
It's got Ridley Scott, Julianne Moore.
Yeah, Ridley Scott's like an executive producer.
Yeah, I mean, he's involved.
Yes.
And Julianne Moore and Reality, which I forget her name.
Sydney Sweeney.
Yes, she's very good. So it's quality, and I'm interested in the story, kind of. I'll be honest. So I enjoyed it because it's...
What do you mean, kind of?
Okay, this is going to sound like an insult, but it's just trying to be descriptive. It's like old-fashioned television movie of the week. You know?
Yeah.
So here's the actual like story. So any spoilers, I'm just telling you now. So the mom is out on her ranch tending the horses. She gives horse riding lessons. Her wife recently tragically died, so she's very alone. She's having a hard time getting up every day. We find out that the daughter's an asshole because she's an asshole, not just because, she's a drug addict, which doesn't make you an asshole, but she's terrible. She lies, she manipulates, she's terrible. And then we find the daughter's done something terrible, and the real question is, the thread is, this mom will forgive anything, and she will do anything for this daughter.
Yes.
That the father even says, we made a pledge not to, basically enable her. And she's like, I tried. But then you see the other weight on her mind is this daughter, and how, she knows she's out in the world. She's left rehab again, and you don't know that till later. But, this is all weighing on this lady, and she has a hard time waking up every single day, right? So the burden of the grief of the loss of the wife, the grief of the struggling of the farm. She has no money. And the grief of the loss of this daughter, essentially. She's not dead, but she's gone. You know what I'm saying? She's terrible. Yeah. And she's a waste of space at this time. That's the truth. When you meet this daughter, you'll know what I mean. I'm not being cruel. And so the evolution of this lady is to just push the limit on what she'll do for this daughter, including there's bad people involved. And then sort of the release of the grief and realizing she doesn't have to be weighed down by this terrible daughter and the terrible sadness. So I feel like that I enjoyed. But
Yeah.
again, the story of that is just a straight up tale of overcoming and struggling. And, I don't know, it seemed sort of flatline-ish.
It kind of reminded me, it's weird, but the thing it kept reminding me of was Ozark. The way Ozark is played, like the drama, sometimes it's not always like hyper, like action stuff's going on.
True.
This movie, I was like, well, is this more like a character piece? But then it's also not that. It's not like a acting tour de force either, is it? There's some good acting scenes.
There's some really good like subtleties and overt like big moments of like when the daughter's being a complete jerk and when mom's having to accept and soak up her reality, her loss, all the stuff. So it's there, but it all is just a little bit.
It's just, high quality, but also you feel like you've seen something like it before.
Oh, a billion times. It's not a new story. It's just told in a bit of a there's a little bit of a twist, And I feel like the big twisty twist, that's what reminds me of an old-fashioned TV movie of the week, is this like, gotcha.
One thing...
won't say who got who, but there's that, and there's like, oh yeah, I've seen it before.
One thing I didn't understand how they were... So she's had a bereavement. Lost her spouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't kind of tell you who that was, and then they kind of did like a reveal, oh, this lady's with another lady. Like as though that was a reveal of some kind.
No, it was instant. The very first second of the movie is her dreaming that her wife is right over her shoulder in bed with her.
See, it was like a blurry image.
No, it was very clear. Because it zoomed in on her and then it zoomed in on the wife and her hand on her shoulder.
No.
Then she is startled and she wakes up while she was dreaming.
See, in my mind, that was a guy.
Oh, no, it wasn't. It was a woman.
So when that scene came where they were like, oh, look, when they showed you the wedding video.
You didn't know till then? 3 times
I was
that my
thinking
wife
that
died.
wedding video was supposed to be some kind of reveal that she's with a woman. And I was like, what's that got to do with anything?
She even said it multiple times. Early in the movie, my wife died. Somebody said to him, sorry about whatever her name was.
I thought that was later on.
Even the husband said, she's gone, something. It's terrible. I'm sorry. But And she even said, as she went to the husband, that falling in love with the lesbian farmhand, and he likes to remind her of that.
Right, yeah.
Oh, you were zoned out or something, babe.
Not zoned out. I just missed that detail. And then was
multiple times.
Then I was literally sat going, why are we doing this? Why are we showing this wedding video now? Are we supposed to be surprised?
No, that was just showing how much she loved her.
Well, I missed those dialogues.
And kind of like the signal that it was time to kind of move. She has to move forward. I mean, ultimately, she has to actually destroy part of the place where they had their life together as part of the story. And I think that watching that video again and was kind of like, okay, I've got to let go.
And interestingly, Sydney Sweeney's character, Claire, she kind of comes in the movie and then disappears and doesn't really come back to the movie. The movie's without her for a bunch of time, right? The last 30 minutes, the last hour?
I don't really think of it that way because to me, she's ever present. She is the reason this woman is doing everything she's doing. And we've seen her. She filled a lot of space and took up a lot of energy there in the beginning. And now we know who she is, how she is, and then everything the mom does, including covering up a murder, a death, dealing with a very, very terrible character, all that stuff. The daughter to me is like right there, ever present.
I also felt when it started, it was one type of film. And then towards the end, it started going into this insurance scam caper kind of thing that was going on. I felt like it got a little bit hokey at that point. And I think it was down to the guy who's playing the baddie. He's a bit
dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's playing him okay, but the character itself is it's really dumb. Yeah,
yeah,
you're right.
Dumb. Like he tries to be all clever and shit ahead of the game. He's basically a guy who's the daughter's involved with because he's a drug dealer and he's the big money guy and the daughter owes him money and blah, blah, blah. And he's kind of seems like he's got his shit together, but then you realize, why are you just deciding to go along with this weird? But I didn't It's so funny how your brain works.
I'm going to hole up here for 2 days while you figure out how to give me some money.
Yeah, and he takes away her phone, her laptop,
That's
her
what I'm
computer, everything. And then he's like, and then you need to call the bank. How's she going to call the bank?
That's the part where it got a bit dopey for me. I was like, this whole plot here seems...
It didn't seem like an insurance thingy. That only was her idea near the end. His idea was she was to sell the property and give him the money.
But then it turned into burning down the place and...
Yeah, but I mean, that was her choice of how to get out of the situation.
Yeah, I'm just pointing out where it started to go a bit dumb for me. And it was mostly that end part
that's
with the band.
TV of the movie of the week kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Is that there is this very fundamental, basic thing that someone might choose to do. But it seems plausible. But we did lead us there. Like, we have a conversation earlier that this gentleman down the highway, down the road, also burned his farm down. And why didn't he get caught? Oh, well, now, it like messaged to us.
Yeah.
I get that. I get what you're saying, but.
Yeah. Because I actually enjoyed, is that the word for it? The body in the lake scenario. There's a body in a lake. In fact, the movie starts with a body coming up from the bottom of a lake and submerged.
Body in the lake, a body in the lake.
And then, that happens. And I enjoyed that, the mystery around it. You don't quite know who it is. You don't know what it is. And there are some twists that are based around that, which was like, oh, this is interesting. But then it wasn't. Do you get what I mean? There's a scene where Mum, I'm trying to dodge around it, but there's a scene where Mum goes to see where she is, and then a guy is there, and that is like a big twist. And it was like, oh, okay, so what's going on here? And then what really was going on wasn't that interesting.
Oh, I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just standard. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it went from being pretty intriguing to you going, oh, I've really got to know what's going on, to going, oh, that's what's going on? Okay. So, it lost a bit of its steam. And then it turned into the burning the barn down thing, and then I was kind of out at that point. Well, I
disagree with your assessment, because I enjoyed that part. That I feel like that seemed right.
I guess I liked the first 2/3 of it, and the ending wasn't for me. I just felt it was like setting up something interesting, but then not being that interesting. And also wrapping itself up a little bit too neatly at the end. Yeah,
the tidiness, I was a little nervous, like, ooh, this can't be it, right? Because, like, surely something else.
I thought that too. And then it literally, it's wrapped up in a neat bow, and like you can go about your life and you know what happened.
A 2-hour, from
like Hallmark movie.
Yeah, it starts at 8:00. It's over at 10:00. It's full of commercials, and
but it's got
not Hallmark, because we didn't have Hallmark back in the day. But it's very got
it's
that
got a
vibe.
level of quality about it. I don't know if it's based on a book. It felt very booky, the story. But it's a bit of a right in the middle of the road for me, I would say. Let's get on to the cast. Julianne Moore plays Kate Garrison.
Does everyone know you're in love with Julianne?
I love Julianne Moore.
You
Always have since the first film I saw her in, Shortcuts.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah. And then later Boogie Nights and Magnolia and many.
All the classics.
She's in a lot of movies. What do you think of her here?
What was the one where everybody's blind?
Blindness.
Also, Children of Men?
Yes.
Also,
Jurassic Park.
And was she in Jurassic Park?
She was in that third one, I believe.
I think wasn't that Taya Leone? She might have been in it too.
No, it's Seymour Hoffman.
Wasn't
Julianne Moore in that?
No, she was in, oh my God, I can see it. The Hunger Games. Julianne Moore.
Yes. I see her in the Hunger Games too, but I don't know if it's correct.
Yeah, she's the...
You inserted her in. She's on the microphone talking.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Yeah, because she's not great.
Yeah. Yes, you're right.
She's been around, Julianne.
What do you think of her in this one, though?
Excellent. I could literally watch her and Reality, which I always forget her name, but Claire in this movie, and her friend lady. I mean, even the guy, the jerky dumb guy.
But what about Julianne Moore?
Yeah, I'm saying all of them did a good job with the straight up story they were telling.
I mean, she's good at conveying distress, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And she really does in this movie. She's very distressed. She has to do some stuff that is bad, really. You know the part where she's just diving into the water?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy comes along and is like, kind of, what are you doing? That was a good scene. It
That
was really
was.
tense, like you know, because she's doing something she shouldn't be, and she has to explain to this authority. Was he a cop or a park ranger or something?
Park ranger.
Yeah. Sydney Sweeney plays Claire. We've seen her in Reality. We've seen her in Immaculate. She's very good.
She was very good.
And in this one, she is really not likable. But,
no.
But then there are moments where you look at her and like, in a different trajectory of that character you would have liked her. She mixed with the wrong people. That was the problem.
No. Do not give her an excuse. She's just an asshole.
I mean, she is.
She's an asshole. And in fact, the bad guy says to her, it must suck, having a daughter like her.
Yeah.
And he's the bad guy. And no, do not give her an excuse. She's terrible. She's a liar. She's a thief. She will abuse her mother. She was going to steal the dog and let it die.
Yes.
So she's terrible. Nothing to do with those guys. In fact, she might have instigated whatever they were doing. It might have been her idea. So she's just terrible. And the lady does a good job of being terrible.
I'm talking to the bad guys. Domhnall Gleeson plays Jackie Lawson. I mean, he's a mustache twirler.
A little bit.
Even from the moment he turns up, you're like, oh, this guy, he's got some charisma, but he's also a complete tosser. Because he even gropes her a little bit, doesn't he, when he gets her on the floor? That
kind of, but I don't think that was the intention.
I thought that was where we were going at that point. I was like, oh, this guy's
I can tell real quickly he's just a man about like getting money and getting whatever he wants,
Yeah. I liked him, but then I didn't like what they did with him character-wise.
I get you.
Yeah. Fiona Shaw plays Julianne Moore's friend in this, Leslie Oliver.
She's one of the best things in the movie.
Again, everybody's they've got like a bunch of good actors in this movie.
Yeah.
That's what elevates it up a little bit. And Kyle MacLachlan, my friend, Agent Cooper, plays Dad, Richard Gerritsen. I mean, he's in one scene. I was really hoping he'd come back for another scene. I was like, oh, is that it? Like, it's about what, 2 minutes?
It's not big, but again, he's ever present. You know that this is her ex-husband. He's the father. He's a lawyer.
And how he stands on it all.
He's a wealthy man. He is not in support of the daughter the way that he's not easily manipulated like mom is. Let's just put it that way.
No. And he's good.
And so to know that she can't just pick up the phone anytime and call him up like as a support, you kind of know that.
This is directed by Michael Pearce. He directed the movie Beast, which we actually reviewed in one of the older shows. That was like a movie like where this girl and then a guy turns up, and the guy, you don't know if he's good or bad. He's kind of mysterious, a bit like this guy in this movie. Mm-hmm. And that's a really cool movie.
It is. It's creepy as hell.
Yeah. So what did you think of Michael Pearce here? He didn't seem to have as much balls as that movie did. Or guts. For
sure, but I mean, it told the story, right? Yeah. So I can't argue with that. It just was a bit,
bland is kind of
a little bit, yeah, sadly.
It sets it all up very interesting. You're really kind of like, oh, I'm really interested to see what is this? What is actually happening?
Yeah.
But then sometimes a movie can reveal its stuff and then you're like, oh, that's it? Like, I'm not actually surprised about that. That's it. And
the mom's decision to go as far as she does, it's not kind of like a gut-wrenching, like, holy shit, that mom is willing to, like, she does a thing to cover up a thing, and then she does another thing to get someone else in trouble. But I can't think of a movie off the top of my head where a mom does, like, an extreme, like murders a bunch of people or something to, like, help their child out.
Right.
There probably are some that we've seen, but it was just a little bit like smooth around the edges, we'll say.
IMDb reviews, what are those?
Those are reviews. You're going to find the 1 stars, and they're probably going to say some of the things you've been saying today.
Yeah, overall, this gets a 6.3 on IMDb.
Okay.
The first guy with the 1-star review says, I watched this movie because Julianne Moore is one of my favorites, but this is one film of hers I wish I hadn't seen. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth. How is a movie like this fun? Do you know what that means? There's a big difference between unconditional love and enabling a child who's a hopeless case and a parasite. This movie seems to want to explain that, but never really does. And there's also non-stop foul language in this movie. I remember there was the C word and maybe a couple of F words.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But it wasn't over-the-top language.
No, that would stand out to me. I swear a lot, so it does stand out to me, not because I'm being judgmental, but because I just noticed, like, right on. That's bold. But no, I didn't.
I wouldn't say this is a movie you know that you should be warned that it's full of foul language.
No,
I don't think so.
Interesting.
Second one says, I'm tired of movies like this. A movie that could have been a 10, but with a lazy script that wants to let the viewer decide the ending. A story that has no meaning and no beginning, middle, or end. Well, it has all of that.
It has all that. And true, it does leave you wondering at the end. And that's true.
Well, this guy says in particular, I hate movies that have a crescendo ending with music welling up and an exciting feeling and then cut to a black screen and show you the director's name.
That's very specific.
Yeah. So he hates that kind of movie, and this has that kind of ending. So,
okay.
Yeah. And number 3 says, cliffhangers are the laziest form of writing. This movie is okay. It's a little monotonous, but very predictable. But Julianne Moore is amazing and certainly carries the film. However, my biggest pet peeve is a cliffhanger. It's just so lazy. I was hoping for some character development and to be applauding the main character at the end instead of wondering, oh, is she going to let that daughter in again at some point?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. It is a bit lazy. I agree with that.
I wouldn't call it a cliffhanger. I'd call it more ambiguous, like you don't really know what she's going to do.
Yeah, and cliffhanger implies that you care enough. I don't really care what this mother does, I'll be honest.
It's more like you hope she's learned a lesson from this entire thing, but maybe she didn't.
That's
because blood is thicker than wine or whatever they say.
I'll tell you what, she didn't.
Yeah.
You can be all optimistic and shit, and I'll tell you for a fact she did not learn anything.
I don't think so either.
Now, the only thing the mom might have gained is like she now understands that maybe the daughter can't manipulate her quite as much because she can always look at her daughter when her daughter's acting up and give her the look of like, you know what I fucking did for you? Yes. Remember that time?
Yeah, you remember all that shit.
So shut it and go scoop some horse shit.
I was in an effing canoe.
Exactly. So I feel like that, you get that from that little look on her face. I don't feel like the daughter has changed, but mom has.
All right. Extras, we didn't see them because we watched the Apple TV streaming version. Let's give this movie a score. I'm going to give Echo Valley a 5 out of 10. It's right in the middle.
Ooh, that's pretty interesting. I'm going to go 7.2 because I really love the quality of everything. And I was having a fine time watching it. Yeah. And then the last few points there, just because,
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
Well, I took a bunch off for the last third being a bit
I got you.
Predictable and meh. All right. So that is Echo Valley. Next week, we are going to look at the Marvel movie Thunderbolts, which we were going to look at this week, but then they moved it forward a week.
And you're a puppet of the industry.
I am. So next week, we'll look at Florence Pugh Pew Pew in Thunderbolts.
I'm sure she's never heard that before.
Never. Movie recommendations. I'll go for one with Julianne Moore and one with Sydney Sweeney. Julianne Moore movie, Boogie Nights. Fantastic.
Of course.
And Sydney Sweeney, Immaculate, the one with the nun, which was amazing.
Oh my.
Yeah. It's effed up.
It is effed up.
Yes.
And I will go back to the history of cinema, all of cinema. And we're in the 90s and I'm doing horror movies. I'm in 1990, and then I skipped to 1994. So 1990 was the television series It. Remember?
I do remember
Back in the day?
Yeah.
It had Richie Cunningham in it, if I remember correctly.
It wasn't great, right?
I don't remember if it wasn't great. It was fine for the times.
Yes.
Then we have, and if you see a theme here all of a sudden, in 1994, we have Frankenstein with the Robert De Niro. And it was very theatrical, I don't remember loving it. It was kind of like over the top melodramatic,
Schmaltzy.
Interview with a Vampire. So we got that.
Also schmaltzy a little
Wolf.
bit.
So we got Frankenstein, Vampire, and the Wolf.
I do like Wolf with Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer.
I like that one.
And then we have Phantasm 3. Somehow I've missed the other two over the time that I've been giving my recommendations because they surely came before this. But
yeah,
I watched it all one year because you said you've never watched Phantasm?
And it's Phantasm 1 that does it for me, the first one. It's creepy as hell, the first one.
It's a little bit creepy, and then you just kind of get the standard regurgitate.
Yeah, it does it just progressively gets worse and more stupid as it goes on, right? Like, we've got to make more of this.
Because, it gets a bit, yeah.
Yeah, the first one, though, is a pretty unique, strange thing. It's very weird. And also, like, there are things that happen that you're like, what is actually happening? You know?
Like, they're trying too hard.
Well, no, I think they were trying. I think it was just right, that first one. I just think the second.
No, I mean, after that.
Yeah, after
that's what I'm
that.
saying. They're trying too hard.
But the first one's just, it's like a lot of horror movies where you get a first one, it's fantastic, and then it just progressively gets worse. And I would say Nightmare on Elm Street is, apart from my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street film, is the third one.
Dream Warriors.
I really like that one. All right. So those are the recommendations for you. Hey, Scully Stuff, I've been playing a really old game, Grand Theft Auto 4.
You're in love with Grand Theft Auto?
Well, what I realized was looking at my Steam list, and I thought, I've played Grand Theft Auto 5 quite a bit since it came out. But 4, I played it. Apparently, I played it for 97 hours because it tells you on my Steam profile how long I played it for. But I never have played it since, so I thought I'd load it up, and I'm like, because it's such an old game and computers have come such a long way, maybe it won't run properly. And it actually ran just fine. I had to load a PC mod. I found a mod for it that made it run in ultra-wide resolution, which is what my monitor is, and also fixed a few of the issues that on newer computers, there are issues with it. But this guy made a mod, fixed everything. So I started playing, and I wanted to play the DLC in particular called The Ballad of Gay Tony, because that DLC I have never finished. So I want to actually, I didn't really care about the main game. I just wanted to play this DLC. So I'm started the DLC and I'm playing through it. And it's like playing a new game because I don't know any of this DLC because I never went through it. And it runs really well. It's really funny because there's like a slider when you're doing your game on the PC. There's a slider that says traffic density, and it goes from 1 to 100. And in the old game, when it was out on the Xbox 360, you could only move it to 5, and then anything after 5, it would like crash because it was real. But now you can move it to 100. So when you're in the middle of New York City, there is a lot of traffic now. It makes the game really different. It's not just a sparse, oh, there's 3 taxis in a row. There's like 20 taxis in a row. It's like real traffic. So that kind of adds a bit of cool gameplay because you can't really do a car chase when there's tons of cars. So that's GTA 4. It's very, very cheap on Steam. There's a sale at the moment. It's about $5. It's an older game, but it's really fun. Sito, what's for dinner?
I believe we're going to do nuggets, plant-based nuggets, and some vegetables.
That's not what it says on this.
Maybe some yeah, that's from last week. So we're not doing Subway. That was last week. I just don't want to go anywhere. So unless we want a delivery of Jimmy John's, those are the options.
Find Jimmy John's to be the most bland sandwich you've ever eaten.
Well, then that might be right for today.
Well,
bland
nice
sandwich with a semi-bland movie. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But that's what we'll probably do, is
right.
nuggets.
What's your
veg.
advice? And let's get out of it.
My advice isn't really advice, except it's just, sink it into your brain. That, don't know if I learned it on purpose from my parents, because they're very different people, and my dad was kind of an asshole when I was growing up, and admittedly so. He would never deny that. He's gone now. My mother's gone as well. And so I didn't learn great things from my father when I was a kid. But what I didn't get from him was telling me, you could ask my siblings for a different take, telling me what I have to do. I think he might have given up by the time I came around. I'm the fourth, and he was tired, and he wasn't older. I mean, he was only 27 when I was born, but just kind of over it. And I was very not cooperative, kind of a teenager, a kid, whatever. I was very dumb, just like I am now. Like I didn't give a shit about anything. You couldn't get me in trouble because I didn't care. Couldn't care less if I got in trouble or if whatever. And my mom's thing was always just be who you are. Just be exactly how you are. She might not have always loved it, but I never felt like she would ever tell me, because she learned from the time I was little. She said she figured out by the time I was in about 3rd grade, I didn't want to go clothes shopping. I hated it. I hated trying on clothes. I hated going to the store, and her, she would always be excited I remember her wanting to have me try on a bunch, and I hated it. And she has always said, my God, you would put on the same clothes and you would wear the same clothes for days in a row. And when I was little, she said, I had to force you to get this little onesie off you and this would have been the 60s, 70s, early 70s, because you just you wanted to sleep in it and wear it all the time. Newsflash, everyone. I'm still the same way, right? But she learned that when I was a kid. Then she would just give me the Sears catalog and say, you pick 5 things for school coming up, and then we'll just get those and that's it. So she learned who I was very early and let me be that. She didn't then force me for the rest of my life to go shopping with her and wear clothes I didn't want to wear and do my hair the way I didn't want to do it or be how I didn't want to be. So that's just one little sliver of me building up the confidence to be who I am. And the thing that I know and want people to know is like, it is so much better to know who you are, get the opportunity to kind of let that effervescent bubbles of who you really are come to the surface and like pop and explode and be you, instead of pressurizing it and being told how to be and then letting someone else's idea of who you're supposed to be control you. So then you don't exist, right? You don't exist. You know who you are inside, but you don't get to be you. Sometimes that comes out in bad ways, right? You pressurize someone and then they do bad behaviors because they feel controlled and they can't ever be who they are. So my thing is like, it's always better to be who you are. Here's the caveat to that. As long as you're not a complete asshole who wants to hurt everybody. In that case, you should be in prison or dead. That's just how it is. But you know what I'm saying. As a general human being who can be productive in society and not be harmful to the world, be who you are, instead of being a product, like an actual molded product of what someone else, and could be generations of other people wanting to decide who you are. And for no reason except they don't know who the fuck they are, right? So that is all.
All right, well said, Sid Talk. Let me play some music. So I'm going to tell you that this podcast is available at ascally.com, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, YouTube. It's also, we are on Instagram, X. Where else are you, Sid Talk? Anywhere else?
Barely on X, so don't count on that. No, not really.
Nowhere. You can email me, ascally@ascally.com. Don't email Sid Talk. She doesn't want your email. And stay classy, Julianne Moore, a very classy lady.
And I'm going to say, think for yourself, because someone else will do it for you.
Did your brain disengage there for a second?
No, I was trying to be very, clear.
Oh, I see. All right. Goodbye, everybody.